This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire, stop all that. The Truefire All Access membership, they've brought the price down for March Madness, they're calling it, so the cheapest you can get it any time of year. I honestly had sort of had it set in my mind that probably I was never going to spend over £2,000 on a guitar, and this has been about the spot for me where I felt comfortable spending on a guitar, and anything over that, I've just felt sort of like instant kind of buyer's remorse, and some other kind of things like that, and like, would I ever gig that guitar? You know, I had a PRS DGT, that's like the other most expensive guitar that I've bought, and it's kind of like, I'm not really gelling with that as an idea. So why would I spend more than twice what I spent on that on a beaten up looking new tele? So this is a video sort of trying to come to terms with the fact that I've spent a lot of money on this, and talking through some of the kind of goals with it, and maybe assessing whether these were reached or not. Basically, since playing Jake's Nacho caster, you'll probably have seen a bunch of videos, possibly, people have come to terms with the struggle the same as me. And it has taught me a lesson, basically, like, your friend's guitar is your friend's guitar, and even if you were to buy a Nacho, it's not going to be the same guitar, and that's going to have to be okay for you to really come to terms with it. So what I actually did was I sold like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 fairly expensive guitars. So I think in terms of like cash and stuff, I'm still up on this. So the whole point was that I don't have loads of space, and I do get sent by companies guitars which have to go back, but they still take up space. Like, there's 2 PRSs there, there's 1 PRS over there. And the whole point was that I'd rather have, in terms of my collection, not even a collection, but just a bunch of guitars that I actually play pretty much all the time. Now, if you do have an interest in any specific guitar of mine, there are still a couple that I might consider selling if you are particularly interested. But, you know, shoot me an email if that is the case. I've now got, I think, less than 10 if you don't count the Fenders, which I think are going to be part of an ongoing experiment. I think I want to try and continue like exploring the Fender stuff and maybe do something similar with teles. But the idea, yeah, is just to have like a couple of guitars that I really use all the time, and, you know, can these two be that? You know, I've got my number one Strat, this could be the number one tele. Not only that, but come up sort of positive in the deal in terms of selling off guitars that will over and above pay for the Nacho. So in that respect, kind of we're doing all right on this. The other thing was, though, that I kind of wanted it to shut the door to gas, you know, telegas, which I'm not sure it's done, because basically yesterday Peter sent me over this Nacho that just came in at Guitar Point, and it was a 2017, almost identical spec to Jake's, and probably made by the same guy. And I kind of looked at that and it was like, oh, I wonder how much that one would be. I didn't, but I was kind of considering. So I don't think it's cured the gas yet, but I did resist, and I'm sure in a couple of weeks I'll have forgotten about that one. So it's not closed the door to gas yet. I think when you stop looking is basically when you've solved gas to some extent, because I don't want to be looking at loads and loads of different teles, and just I want it to be like a one tele thing where I have like a bit of a bond with the guitar. And then, you know, even as good as Jake's is, if I play it next to mine, it's like, yeah, I love that guitar, but this one's mine. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to, but it's going to take some time. The other thing is, I think some of you guys did like the look of this one, maybe even better in some ways, and it's different is kind of the one of the positive things, and I guess it kind of organically just organically happened in that it just sort of showed up at Coda, and it was there like a quick flutter and a quick flurry to try and grab it, like in a nightclub. Now, can I honestly promise you that this is the last Nacho that might appear on the channel? I don't know. So it may happen that I continue to look and see if I can one-up it with a Nacho, like an either, I don't know, one that catches my eye. But I'm going to, I don't know, see if this one can be the one, because I don't want to have multiples. I kind of want to have like one great tele is kind of what I'm looking for, and I've got my parts casters which are good enough. I want to have like one great Strat that is kind of my thing, which I already have, so I'm kind of looking for the tele to do the same sort of thing. So that's kind of my goal with it. I don't know if any of you guys have similar goals. In terms of, it's definitely the most expensive guitar that I've ever bought. I don't have regrets in terms of spending this on it. The one regret that's sort of come up is that like straight afterwards another one was available and maybe that one might have even been a better guitar in some ways. But this is kind of the thing that you have to cope with, like, as a guitarist. Like, there's always something out there which is going to be better than your guitar, right? You know, you spend 7-8 grand on a thing, there'll be, you know, a master built version, there'll be a Murphy Lab thing, there'll be an actual vintage thing, there'll be an actual vintage thing that was once owned by someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no real end to it. There'll be like a cleaner example, there'll be an earlier 50s example. I think you just have to get used to the idea that you can't own them all unless you're Joe Bonamassa or Tom Bukovac. You've just got to kind of play the ones that make their way into your life, is kind of my take on it anyway. So yes, that's the Nacho story so far, and whoever got that other one, I hope they enjoy it as much as I'm going to try and enjoy this one. So cheers for stopping by. Thanks to everyone who has followed along the little journey. I know it's a bit of a weird one. I don't know if any of you guys can relate in general to, like, playing a friend's guitar and then not being able to get it out of your head and then thinking, right, I'll try and get one of those myself. Because I've played a bunch of Jake's guitars that are also lovely, like the Murphy Lab Les Paul or the Collings, but I've never had it to be the situation where it's like, well, I've got to get something like that for myself. So this was interesting for me. So yeah, cheers for stopping by. I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm going to go and watch Sun Gazer with Josh Della Victoria playing. So cheers.